Welcome back to Instant Expertise Marketing. In this episode 109, we're going to tackle a question you've probably heard of, but may still secretly be Googling. What even is an LLM, and why should you care about it as a marketer? I'm Yvette Brown, co-founder of X-Promos, and I promise we're going to explain this in plain English. No jargon, no math, just the real deal on why this matters to your work.
And I'm Sherry Nomadi. And if you've ever felt too embarrassed to ask what all these AI terms mean, you are in the right place because we gotcha. And we're going to start with the basics.
Okay, here we go. LLM. It stands for Large Language Model. It's basically a type of AI that is trained on a giant amount of text, like everything from books, articles, websites, so that it can recognize patterns and generate human-sounding language. You can think of it like a giant searchable brain built from human knowledge. When used well, it becomes a tool that can help you work faster, smarter, and more efficiently. Not because it's magic, but because it has instant access to this massive body of reference material and patterns. So, under that context, what LLMs are really good at are repetitive tasks. It can summarize notes, rewrite emails, reformat decks. It's also really good at brainstorming. It can generate multiple campaign concepts, names, or subject lines. As someone who's a writer, I use it. If I need a subject line, I'll ask it for 5, and I usually hate 4.5 of them, but I really like the other one, and we go through some iterations to get to something we really like, right? So it's good. It's good. It's great to kind of help you through those brainstorming ideas. But that's not all. It's also great at research and summarization. It can boil down a really long article into the key highlights. It can, break down a report. It can give you the highlights from a client meeting. These are areas that it's really good at.
And LLMs are also good at adapting messages for different tones, audiences, even platforms. It's also good at planning and structure, like in outlining presentations or content calendars or even workflows. And it's also good at interpreting data with guidance, turning numbers into stories or even a slide copy. I like to think of LLMs as in autocomplete, but it's on steroids. Instead of just finishing your sentence, it can actually complete a whole idea with you in real time very quickly.
Yeah, one of the fun things I like with, I use 4.0 predominantly in my day-to-day at ChatGPT. And one of the fun things I like is I'll ask it for something, and and this gets back to being an intern, when it gives it back, it always tries to think about what's next, right? So it'll be like, hey, I give you those. Do you want some taglines now? Would you like me to put this in a different format? Like, what can I do for you now? Right? It's always like super overly helpful, like that intern we always talk about. But the key thing to know is that it doesn't think, even though I just said the word think, in the true sense of the word, right? It doesn't understand. An LLM does not understand like a person does. The LLM is actually guessing what the next best word should be based on the probabilities. But that guessing game is super powerful because it lets you interact with the world's information like you're in a conversation, right? And like the other key to it is that it doesn't really matter which model you use. It doesn't matter if it's ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or Grok or Copilot or whatever. It doesn't make a huge difference, right? You can get into the weeds of whether a specific use case is better, like for one thing or another. And you see people talking about this all the time on LinkedIn. It's like, oh, well, this was better. I really like Claude for this, or Grok was really great at that. And like, that's great. But in reality, where the huge delta is is between the human output and the AI enabled output. And like all the LLMs are like here, right? And yeah, depending on your use case, you might want to use this or that or whatever. That's all great, but like we're talking about the tiny part, this is the big difference that matters. It's not which one you use, it's that you're using it.
Absolutely. That's what we always say. So let's zoom out. LLMs aren't just text generators anymore. The newest models are evolving into reasoning engines, and what they can do is plan multi step workflows. They can make prioritization decisions based on goals. They can evaluate and critique your work against specific objectives. They can connect the dots across multiple documents. And they can even map out campaign strategies across multi channels.
Yeah, and the reasoning models can also run through if-then logic. And this is where you start to see some super amazing things happen. So like if we delay our launch by 2 weeks, what's going to be the impact? Now you can't just ask that unless you've already been talking to your LLM about what the product launch is and like kind of the details of it. But like once you're in those conversations and it's sort of seasoned with your information, those are the things that you can ask in the middle of it, right? And to that point, they're also delivering some amazing strategic partner outputs, right? Especially in the hands of a seasoned expert. I can't emphasize that enough, right? This is things like building business cases with supporting logic, evaluating growth opportunities or new markets or like many, many more things. And, it takes, and this is why we talk about it all the time, it takes your brain power, what you know how to do, because you're going to ask it smarter questions about your expertise, and you are going to be blown away by what it comes back with and the insights that it can provide to help guide you in a direction.
And that's where really a lot of marketers get overwhelmed because once you see what's possible, it's really hard to know where to start. And that's exactly why our AI Foundations training starts with a role plan, a very personalized role plan where we map out your current responsibilities and then show you exactly how AI can support each one of your deliverables. It really is a personalized roadmap so that you can see where it fits into your real world work, not just someone else's hype about what it might be able to do.
Yeah, that's exactly true. And that's one of my favorite parts about our program. It's an 8x8 canvas. So you literally have 64 deliverables that align to your 8 areas of competency. And we get that, AI on its own usually gets it about 95% right. We work with you to get the last 5% done in that first hour together. And then you have your roadmap of like all the things you probably do and you can start focusing on how AI can help you do them. But here's what it's not going to do. It's not going to replace your creativity. It's not going to read your mind. And it's not going to make perfect decisions. You still have to guide AI. You have to shape it. And like we always say, you have to prompt it well.
So, if you've been wondering what even is this thing that everyone's talking about, now you know. It's not magic, but it is a great tool. And if you're not using it now, then there's a pretty good chance you're going to be at a disadvantage real soon because the models coming out continue to evolve and evolve.
And if you're ready to start using AI in your day-to-day work, check out our AI Foundations course. It's at xpromos.com/AI. And we're going to show you how to go from just being curious about AI to being confident in just a few short hours, but they are spread out over 8 weeks.
And if this episode helped clear some things up for you, then send it to someone else who's still nodding along in meetings and wondering, in the heck is this? I don't even know what ChatGPT really is.
Yeah,
Right?
you know who
Send
we're
it to 'em.
talking about. You know it. So thank you for dropping in, and we will see you next time.